All right, this is recording 876876. The name of this podcast is Listen Next 876. It's a part of my podcast series, Speaking to the CIA. You can find me at speakingtothecia.com or ChristinaStation918.com. Okay, so... all right, let me see here how to go about doing this. Okay, so the first part of this I can't disclose to you because I'm just not gonna. I can't do that. Okay, but intelligence has my phone and has the screenshots on my phone, so it's going to be easy to follow along after I explain all this to you. So the first part of this I can't disclose to you, okay? So the second part of this, it leads to, and this is where I want to pick up, okay? So it leads to my decoding World War I, okay? Now, my memory, she flashed my memory for me to instantly jump to World War II. Okay, so I did the numbers on World War II because however I remember she's done something with. And then somebody said, no, that goes to World War I. And I was like, oh my God, that does go to World War I. Because I can see it on my page, the page where I decoded all this, okay? So I was decoding Kilroy, all right? So I know Kilroy's been around for a long time. I know at least since World War I, okay? So I know that this goes to World War I, okay? So the part that I can't disclose to you is how she said about stalking me and my family all of our lives. And it shows you how long she's been at it, okay? So I want to show you how this goes through, and it goes back into history. And you know, my family, they're war veterans. Okay, so she thinks that by me making reports against her, she will stop me from making reports against her, and B, if I make reports against her, she will go prey on people's emotions and try to get people upset with me and act like she's a spokesperson of me, and she'll just handle everything because she wants to upset and anger veterans, okay? When I am simply trying to say she has been stalking us all of our lives, and this is how intricate this is, how she is woven in. She is obsessed with our bloodline. And in me decoding out her stalking us all of our lives, I decoded a huge terror plot of hers. Okay, so these are all important little pieces. So it's important for intelligence to recognize that Gene Roberts has been stalking me and my family all of our lives. It's also important, obviously, for them to know of the massive terror plots, and all the smaller terror plots within it are all connected. And then anybody else who might be listening, don't absorb anything. Look, pretend that you're CIS. Pretend that you're FBI. Pretend that you're CIA. Pretend you're the chief of police. You got to solve something. You got to figure something out. You got to not have any emotion at all and just look at, like, the facts or the logistics, because there might be something that she has done that you might know, because if you're linked to me, that means you may have something. That means you might know something, which might help them uncover more terror plots. So, which her whole scheme is to keep people from listening to me, which tells you even more what I'm telling you is true. Because why would she do that? Why would she go to the trouble to do that? So, okay, so World War I lasted from 1914 to 1918, okay? The armistice in November 11th, 1918. You know, I was born 1971, November 13th, 1971. My birthday is in here. It's encoded in here. So the 918 is the 918, you know, that's present day, that's Tulsa area code. Again, her pre-planning and controlling my life. And then if you look at the dates, July 28th, 1914, and then April 6th, 1917, and then November 11th, 1918, and then if you look at June 20th, 1919. Okay, so this then takes me to, well, first I stop with World War I and go back to World War II real quick. So let me go do the math on 21, I think it was 21, I can't remember if it was 2100. I don't know if it's 1971 or 2100. You know how to do the math, formulas that she used in controlling my life. Okay, so the 2100, so it came out to 64, and 64, 6 plus 4 is 10, and that is X. And X means not modern day how we use X, but like in history, how is X used? X marks the spot, like target. Okay, so you're going to see the X in here. Okay, so she's probably doing X, and then because it's World War I related, and then she's probably going to go like, this is modern. Then kill. No, it's not. But you do build on your ciphers over time. That's how you disguise them. Okay, I've decoded so many of your ciphers. I know how this goes. I've decoded ciphers of yours that are so old and they're brought to modern day. You keep building on the same cipher. Okay, so anyway, and that would be, and then, so the first thing I thought of here, which is I already know what she did, 64, the Commodore 64, computers. Okay, and then my grandpa was in World War II. He was in Pearl Harbor. Okay, so, and he was, I believe he was, I think he was a commander. I can't remember though. I can't remember right now. I can't. Okay, so anyway, so I keep going with this. So I'm like, what happened 100 years before this? So we're going in 100-year blocks now, right? So I'm like, what happened 100 years before this? And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot what happened. 1912 was the sinking of the Titanic. So was I looking at the, how did I get to 1912? I don't even remember. Oh, I don't remember how I got it, but you can follow this easily. This all goes in order, and I can't remember exactly how I got where to where. But anyway, I was like, something happened in 1912. What happened in 1912? And then I'm like, 1912, the sinking of the Titanic. I remember now. Okay. So anyway, so the sinking, so then I go from the sinking of Titanic and I take another 100-year time span because I'm like, that's connected. So that means World War I is connected to the Titanic, which I decoded something about radar. The word was sonar. I can't remember what else I decoded. But anyway, so I decoded. So I know the Titanic is connected to World War I, and so then I know the Titanic is connected before this, and I'm like, what happened in 1812? And I'm like, because I know that there is a war that this is associated with before the Titanic. And I'm like, oh my God. Somebody goes, the War of 1812. And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about the War of 1812. So then I go back 100 years and there it is, the War of 1812. And it's showing, this is unreal. I'm like, oh my gosh. The year 1812 was a major turning point in global history, marked most notably by the start of the War of 1812 and Napoleon's invasion of Russia, what is going on right now? Russia, she's committing terror attacks in Russia. So I find all this out like real time. I keep decoding my life and I keep decoding what she's done, and she keeps committing terror attacks. So anyway, and this happens all the time, but the more I make intelligence and law enforcement aware of what's going on, the less she can steal, lie, disguise. She can't do anything. She's caught. So anyway, so U.S. Declaration of War. So on June 18th, and notice the 18th from the 28th. Okay, so June 18th in 1812, they officially declared war on Great Britain over maritime rights, trade blockages, and forced impressment of sailors. So Napoleon in Russia. So Napoleon Bonaparte's massive Grand Army, ARMEE. So that probably, she's probably encoding Armada, which I know you guys would instantly know that. So, which would connect again to Titanic. Invaded Russia in 1812, capturing Moscow in September. See, I told you, she pre-planned to do 9/11 a long time ago. So it makes me wonder exactly what year she planned to do, like when was the actual World Trade Center planned? Because it was built to be crashed. And I'm not saying the builders built it to be crashed. I'm saying whoever was behind this, her predecessors, they built this to be crashed, okay? And I know that everybody knows that now, but I'm just reminding everybody. So if you take this back and you go back to when was this originally, the World Trade Center itself originally planned to be built? Like, what was happening? What is the relevance of September before the World Trade Center attack? Is it scepter? Is it sacrifices? I mean, is it probably the 9, the RE is probably, there's probably a whole bunch. But anyway, so September is very significant. And then also, remember what I told you, she is a Satanist. She is in a satanic occult, okay? And she'll disguise it by claiming it's the Masons. It is not the Masons. And the Masons are not a satanic occult, okay? They may have had Satanists in there back in the day. They're not Satanists now, okay? And I'm just saying that I really don't know. I really don't know, and I really don't care. Jean Roberts, no, they're not Satanists. I'll just tell you that. And her trying to get me to talk like that is, again, her trying to mess with your words and your speech so she can control and manipulate and con, which makes people want to just kill Jean, which she really does need to be arrested and executed. This is insane. Anyway, she hides under people. She commits crime and acts like she's those people, and then she turns around and hides under them, and then she blames those people and thinks she gets away with it, okay? So, anyway, so Jesus, and this, like I told you, the terror plot goes all the way back to the beginning of time. So Jesus, he died in the fall. So, you know, that's also relevant there. And then Napoleon, you're talking about Nostradamus, which probably has a huge part to play in here. Obviously, you know it does, because I've decoded so much Nostradamus. I know it's in here. But the 3 Antichrists, because Napoleon is one of them. So then, okay, so key events. Okay, Battle of Queenston Heights fought on October 13th, 1812, resulting in a British victory against U.S. forces attempting to invade Canada. The Great Fire of Moscow, a massive fire, destroyed 3/4 of Moscow in September 1812 during the French occupation. So, you know, that's related. And then celebrated, I couldn't believe this, but then again, I've decoded this before, but it's always mind-blowing to see. Celebrated author Charles Dickens was born February 7th, 1812, and poet Robert Browning on May 7th, 1812. So you have the 10-6 in here from Alice in Wonderland. You also have my son's birthday, which is 10-6. Which is the same, 10-6. She'll censor us out. She didn't want anybody hearing it, but yet this goes to 8 billion people. And then my younger son's birthday is in this 5/13. Okay, so anyway, so Charles Dickens, he wrote A Christmas Tale, which A Christmas Carol is a part of her Alice in Wonderland theme. It goes all the way back into my childhood. It probably, I bet you anything, she probably connected Miracle on 34th Street to this too. I bet you anything. Okay, so I'm like, all right, now what if I go back 100 years again? Okay, so what's in the year 1712? So that was a defining period. The year 1712 was a defining period in the early 18th century, marked by major turning points in the War of the Spanish Succession, significant scientific breakthroughs, and shifting colonial boundaries. And this is scary right here. Significant scientific breakthroughs. Okay, so in here, I literally see the victims of Charles Manson. So she's using 1712 as the 1712 direct as a theme in killing who she killed, which I told you she stalked them, who she killed when in the Charles Manson murders, like Annie Folger, okay, Bianca, and I can't remember their name. I've got the Sharon Tate, all of them. Okay, so the War of the Spanish Succession, the long conflict, neared its ending with the opening of peace talks at Congress of Utrecht in January 1712. Okay, and then even that, I was born November 13th. So I told you she assaulted me when I was 2 months old. Okay, that would have been January 1972. Look at this, Utrecht in January 1712. And she's also saying she's been stalking me all of my life. Remember I told you she went from trail to trail, from trial to trail, from Manson's trial to trailing me and stalking me all of my life. And then you have Battle of Denain. French forces won a decisive victory against the Dutch and Austrians on July 24, 1712, turning the tide of the war back toward France. And then you have the Tuscarora War. And then also, Tusk is a song that Fleetwood Mac sings. And she used, and you know, Stevie Nicks, okay, and you know Gene Roberts is obsessed with people named Steve. She also used Christy McVie. She used Fleetwood Mac as a theme in doing the Oklahoma City bombing. She used Christy McVie. I don't know how you say her name. Is Christy McVie or Christy McVeigh? But she used her. She used them. And they know that they were used. They know that their music was used. I've actually gotten to talk to her in mental telepathy several times. And she's expressed sorrow. She's expressed rage. She's expressed that she's just like every other celebrity. Like they're told they can't talk, they can't do anything. Like, that's how everybody has to be. So, and then she puts the label sign up. So basically, Gene is even trying to like force them to do what they say, which is insane. But I guess if she's trying to pull off what she's trying to pull off, she would be doing that. Because I mean, but I don't understand why there's not outlash there. But then she probably is controlling the outlash. She's probably like calming and you get what I'm saying? She's calming and soothing. Oh, that's the military. They're saying to do that. Just be calm. Because it's probably angering people. It really probably is angering people. When you know there is few people out there, and you know who some of these people are, you're going to hang on to them with all you've got. And I'm talking about witches and warlocks. So there are witches and warlocks underground. I told you some of them have been forced to help Gene and quit helping Gene. Some of them have been forced to help Gene and never stopped helping Gene. Some of them, like, I'm like, I'm out of it. Like, and they've told me, like, you don't even need to say anything, because if you're a witch and you were involved in helping Gene Roberts get away with committing terrorism, then you're in trouble. End of story. Like, you committed a crime. End of story. Now, if you're one of the witches that she came and tried to sucker after the fact, like everybody's doing this, like, do this and here's what's going on, and oh my God, and like torture and lie and do anything you want and all that. Okay, so if that's how she approached you, then you just tell her no. I'm not involved in anything with you. Now, there are some people that have helped her with that second part. There are people that helped her with the first part. Okay. And then there's witches that say, no, I don't want anything to do with any of this. So, but if you're talking about witches or warlocks that live underground, this is really, really, really real. This is really true. And they only have certain people, certain outlets of people that live above ground, that have any possible comprehension or understanding of anything that they're going through or anything they've been through. And then Gene is trying to control that. Is insane. So you can see where Gene probably would have went to them, oh, that's the military, they're just trying to do, so just don't get upset. I could just see Gene doing that. So anyway, okay, so Tuscarora War, and then also North Carolina. Okay, North Carolina. Hey, out there. I know you follow along everything, obviously. Glad you're out there. Glad you know everything that's going on. I can't wait till Gina's arrested. Okay, so anyway, the key inventions, the new common steam engine, the Industrial Revolution. Okay, again. So you're probably talking about Industrial Revolution to AI Revolution, Ted Kaczynski. Split of the Carolinas. So see how important the Carolinas are here? And then she's using the Carolinas also as a future sign, because she wants another civil war. This is her whole Manson objective. Okay, and then notable births. Swiss-French philosopher and writer Jean-Jacques Rousseau was born on June 28, 1712. I'm like, I can't. I just can't. And you know, my first husband's best friend, who I live with in Dallas, Russell, that's his nickname, Russo. So anyway, okay, so that is the end of... Let me see what I got more here. Hang on. Oh, also wanted to bring up, somebody told me as I was decoding this and figuring that out, somebody said also, Gene also used this, is probably where this phrase came from. Cold as the Dickens, Charles Dickens, is probably a reference to the Napoleon War. Okay, and then... Okay, so there's more here. The next I'm going to talk about on the next podcast is about a 6-alarm apartment fire in Foster. Okay, so she committed that crime too, and that's connected to these also. So I'm going to end this podcast, and then I'm going to do another one.